all things Halloween. This is Hauntformer, and you know what's been on my mind? Spirit Halloween. And not only because they have a lot of new awesome animatronics for 2021, but also because I recently attended the flagship store. I did a tour and a ranking. Shameless plugs, but if you haven't, go check them out. But I was looking at these animatronics, their mechanisms, and their appearances, and some of them gave me ideas for other characters that we could potentially see in the future of Spirit Halloween. So today, I'm going to be taking 6 of the animatronics we are going to see in stores at Spirit Halloween Superstores and reskin them, repurpose them into different characters, all of which are other horror characters out there. If you have ideas, though, for different ways these could be reskinned and remodeled and repurposed, whether licensed or just your own creative endeavors, leave a comment below, because a lot of you have some very creative ideas from what I've seen, and I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. But with that being said, I do have 6 in total that I'm going to be talking about, not really in any given order, though I will say stay tuned for number 1, because I do think it's really cool. And if you like Spirit Halloween content, consider subscribing, because I post Halloween videos all year round. Let's kick off the reskins with a reskin of Evelyn Leech, the brand new animatronic bride who holds up her dead husband's head. When I saw this animatronic, I thought it looked oddly familiar to another character, and at first I was gonna say Constance from the Haunted Mansion, and that very well could be the case in the future with all the Haunted Mansion licensing, but I wanted to go a bit weirder, a little more obscure for certain horror fans. And you might say this won't happen, but we saw Killer Clown stuff this year, so it's not too big of a stretch to see more items from Creepshow, which is still in the popular culture. There's a series on Shudder, so it's not far out of the realm of possibilities. I would love to see Evelyn Leech reskinned as Dead Nate. Nate, of course, being the man who died on Father's Day and came back for his Father's Day cake, putting a nice old severed head with some candles on the top of it. I really think that that reskin could work rather well for the Evelyn Leech design. Of course, the frame would have to be taller, it would be more pricey because of, 1, the Creepshow name and license, and 2, because that cake is far more detailed and intricate. Same thing with Nate, who's holding it, but I do think it would work. As the character just simply holds it up in the movie and says, "It's Father's Day and this is my cake." Not a whole lot going on. You'd have probably a mouth movement on Nate, you would have the candles light up, and he would hold up the head. We already know the lights do work inside of the groom's head of Evelyn Leech, so it would be a very feasible, easy way to reskin that character and mechanism with the Creepshow brand, which, come on, that'd be pretty cool. Kind of keeping with Creepshow, but not entirely, let's talk about experiment number 4. If you watched my ranking video, you know I kinda alluded experiment number 4 to Fluffy, who is a character from Creepshow. But I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to get more experimental, and seeing that Spirit is getting some licensed stuff from Gremlins, I thought that this mechanism would work really, really well for the Gremlins cocoon that we see halfway through the movie when the Gremlins hatch and we finally see what the Mogwai turn into. Perhaps having a gremlin hand pop out of the cocoon would be really cool. And even though it's a jump scare prop, and I have some issues with jump scare props as licensed characters, I think the cocoon itself and the gremlin hand would be really cool to have as a collector by itself, and then maybe perhaps we'll also get some regular gremlins too. But the jump scare, nonetheless, would be cool to see at Spirit Halloween. Now let's talk about perhaps the most popular animatronic at Spirit for 2021, Mr. Dark. And I was thinking, because of how tall he gets, from going from this like 2-foot creature to nearly 9 or 10 feet tall, it was incredible to see at the flagship store, by the way, I wanted to think about other characters that are really, really big. And, of course, the ones that usually pop into my head, like Clownzilla, Godzilla, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, were all really cool ideas, but at the end of the day, they don't really work with that mechanism. But then I thought about repurposing the Beetlejuice license to make the Beetle Snake that we see halfway through the movie of Beetlejuice when it attacks the family. I really do think that that could work. I think it would be easy to take the cloak of Mr. Dark and add some white stripes to it, put the Beetle Snake face at the top, and there you go, the Beetle Snake. I really do think it would be a popular seller, not only because of the mech, but also because of that Beetlejuice licensing, and it would be cool to go along with the Beetlejuice that we got this year. Now, you might be saying, Hauntformer, we already got Beetlejuice, why would they make another? Well, we did get, like, multiple Pennywises, so I really don't think it would be out of the realm of possibilities here. Now on to one that I really think is going to get a lot of people interested. We're going to talk about the Hauntress. I immediately, as soon as the Hauntress came out last year, I had a feeling that she would be repurposed. And she was, with Ghostface. And I really wanted to love the Ghostface, but it's just too small. But I was trying to think about other characters that could use that side motion rather well. And a few different ideas popped in my head. One of them was Freddy Krueger, with his glove kind of jumping out to the side. But I wanted to think of something that would really fit that mech really well. And then it hit. Foxy. The Pirate Fox from, of course, the popular horror indie game, Five Nights at Freddy's. I know that FNAF has kind of fallen into obscurity over the last couple years and the fan base has changed, but I do think it has its avid fans, as I'm sure you're going to see in the comments down there. But Five Nights at Freddy's is a property we've never really seen at Spirit Halloween besides costuming, and I do think an animatronic of that would work so well. The Foxy character in the game does have a jump scare to the side, already with a noise, so it feels like a match made in heaven right here. Take the Hauntress mech, add a Foxy mold to it, and there you go. Your very own Five Nights at Freddy's animatronic. FNAF fans, what do you think about this idea? I would certainly dig it. On to my last two. These ones really target me, but I do think a lot of horror fans out there would really enjoy these final two. Up first, we're going to talk about a character that I've wanted to see as an animatronic for ever, Jack Torrance from The Shining. I know it would be a hard one to get. Spirit and these prop companies, for whatever reason, tend to stay away from faces, and I think that's also a reason why we've never seen a Candyman prop. But they did do Hannibal Lecter back in the good old days of Jimmy, so I'm not scratching it off my list just yet. What mech would Jackie Boy use? Well, none other than the Caretaker, which is so ironic, actually, because Jack is the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel, and I do think the position that the Caretaker is in, kind of hunched, bent at the knees, holding a shovel, would be a perfect switcheroo for Jack Torrance holding the axe. I do think the animation could work okay, because if you remember at the end of The Shining, he's kind of running down the hallway looking for Danny, holding the axe like that. I don't know. I really want to see a Jack Torrance, and I feel like it's the perfect segue to get one in the stores. We know that Spirit Halloween has the licensing rights to The Shining, so Spirit, I know you probably would do the Grady Twins route, but please consider doing a Jack Torrance. I'm begging ya. The Shining's like the best horror movie, that and The Exorcist, so the ball's in your court now, Spirit. And finally, last but certainly not least, perhaps the most feasible of all of these, is, well, let's go back a few years. If you remember, Spirit Halloween's Facebook used to be very interactive with its fans. I mean, it still is, but they had a lot of surveys and voting contests for different props. And one time, they had 3 different horror characters, and customers were asked to pick their favorite. And I remember very distinctly the options were the Billy Jigsaw puppet from Saw, Chucky, and Ash from The Evil Dead. And I never thought it would be possible to get an Ash Williams. But after seeing Buzzsaw in stores, I realized just how possible it is. Picture Buzzsaw, slimmed down, with a chainsaw hand as opposed to a buzzsaw hand, and instead of a hammer, a hand holding his gun, his boomstick. Can you see it? I can certainly see it, and it would be really awesome to get an Ash Williams animatronic from The Evil Dead. The saw is even in the correct hand, and him holding his gun would be super cool. Whether it would be licensed from Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness or Ash versus the Evil Dead, I have no idea. But I guarantee if an Ash prop came out, I think it would sell out because of collectors and fans of the Evil Dead series. So, that's all my ideas, you guys. I may have a part 2 to this video if you're curious about it, and I also want to do a video on 10 props that I want to see return to Spirit Halloween. So if you're into that stuff, drop a comment and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, for all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer.